Hello and welcome. This is session 1 of Intrapersonal Mindfulness. My name is Lisa Wickham, and it's a pleasure to be a part of this program with you. Within these next few sessions, we will be exploring a little bit about mindfulness and then introducing the practice of intrapersonal mindfulness. So briefly, what we're talking about here is bringing open-hearted awareness and wisdom to your interactions and communications with others. So before we can fully understand or even begin to explain what interpersonal mindfulness is, we first need to define and explain what mindfulness is. So as you see here on your screen, mindfulness, this is one way of defining it. Mindfulness is paying attention with intention, in the present moment, with calm, open-hearted, skillful responding. So there's a couple really important words and concepts in there. And just to highlight real quickly, this idea of paying attention, noticing, bringing awareness to. So that first word, attention. The second word that's really important in there is intention, this idea of doing it on purpose, setting the intention. And then the third word that's very important and almost the magic ingredient is actually attitude. So when we're speaking about mindfulness, we're talking about a non-judgmental attitude, open-hearted, skillful responding. So another way of looking at mindfulness is it's a powerful means for connecting with our deepest and best qualities as human beings. So this type of awareness really provides us the information of knowing what's going on within us, around us, and giving us the possibility at that point to create how we want to respond rather than reacting to things in our life. So often in our lives, we get swept up in the drama and the negativity of what's going on in life. You know, the what ifs. So this idea of mindfully checking in with our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, the physical sensations we're experiencing, and checking in with what's happening around us can lead us out of reactivity and into a place of wisdom, discernment, skillful decision-making. So this idea of meeting whatever's arising with a sense of kind regard, being the curious observer of our own experience, becoming the impartial witness to our own experience. And then again, this idea of responding versus reacting to our lives. So again, mindfulness is bringing that open-hearted, non-judgmental awareness to what's arising within us and around us. And interpersonal mindfulness, what we're going to focus on today and as we move forward, is bringing that same open-hearted, non-judgmental awareness to our interactions with others. So again, as we move forward and we discuss this more fully, it's important to realize that this is not always easy. In reality, this is a skill set that requires intention, practice, and commitment. And like any skill, we learn over time. So again, going back to those key words that we talked about with mindfulness, attention, paying attention, noticing, being aware, intention, doing this on purpose, and then that magic ingredient of attitude, non-judgmental attitude, and meeting whatever's arising with a sense of kind regard. When we think about communication, communicating with others, or interacting with others, we don't always think about whether we're being intentional or not. Oftentimes our interactions with others can be quite unintentional, not thought through, sometimes not skillful at all. There is a lot that goes on when people communicate and interact. things we might not even be aware of when we think of things such as verbal communication, nonverbal communication, body language, eye contact or lack thereof, tone, inflection. I'm curious, have you ever had an experience while talking with someone who maybe talks too much or dominates the conversation? Someone who maybe talks over you or seems to have no filters and says whatever comes to mind without restraint. Maybe you know someone who does these things, or maybe you notice some of these things about yourself. This is mindful awareness, noticing and being aware. And interpersonal mindfulness is bringing this awareness to the interaction. Oftentimes within an interaction, something will be said or communicated in such a way that can cause a reaction within us. Has anyone ever had that experience? The other may say something that they maybe don't intend anything or don't intend to provoke us, but there it is, and we find ourselves in our own reaction. Maybe an example, like somebody is talking about a situation and it strikes a nerve in us and makes us angry for whatever reason. That's our own reactivity. So this idea of noticing our own reactivity in a non-judgmental way. And once we notice it and acknowledge it for ourselves, then we have the opportunity to work with that reactivity a little more skillfully. So none of this is about fixing someone else who's not communicating well or controlling the conversation. None of this is about judgment. It's about noticing. It's about bringing that calm awareness. What's going on around me? What's going on within me? And then becoming more skillful within ourselves as we interact with others. So as we see on the screen here, mindful interaction is about attuning to these things. What's being said? How is it being said? Remember a few moments ago I said paying attention to the verbal things being said, the words, the nonverbals, how they're being said, the body language, all of those things. And then bringing that awareness to our own reactivity to what's happening. Once we bring the awareness that we have reactivity, then we have the opportunity to tend to the impact of our own reactivity. Skillfully responding, mindful speaking, mindful listening. So a few more things about a mindful interaction. Mindful interactions are intentional. They do not happen by chance. So we need to set the intention. In other words, to bring these skills to mind on purpose and then work with them. Mindful interactions are a skillful way of communicating. When we're interacting mindfully, it gives us the opportunity to increase understanding of what's going on within us, and then seeking to understand what the other is trying to communicate. It paves the way for problem solving, and it's a leadership skill. And by practicing these skills, we have the opportunity to kind of get ourselves out of a crisis management situation because we can be more intentional. Here's a quote by Jessica Dorr that I think is really helpful. The goal of listening mindfully is to not only observe what is being communicated in a non-judgmental way, but to observe your internal reactions to the information as well. So again, the benefits of interpersonal mindfulness. Improving communication through awareness of self and other. That gives us the opportunity to really work with, notice our reactivity and work with it. It's about attention management. It gives us the opportunity to collaborate with those that we are interacting with And this idea of cooperation, team building, team working together. It gives us clarity and the ability to seek to understand, decreasing misunderstandings and miscommunications. And then again, this idea of conflict management. These are leadership skills. These are ways that can benefit us in any relationship, in any interaction and communication moment. These skills and this kind of awareness can change the tone of relationships, working environments, and interactions of all kinds. So, interpersonal mindfulness is beneficial in all areas of our lives. And we'll talk about these different areas later on in another session. But to think about that, we have so many different interactions within our lives. Work, at school, social interactions, our most personal relationships. So just to highlight here again, and as I mentioned before, we will get into this at a later session, but looking at these different areas in the workplace when we're managing others, when we're interacting with our peers and coworkers, our friends perhaps, and then most importantly sometimes when our interactions with clients. This can really help us out in our workplace as being a student, right? Learning to better interact with our peers and our instructors, and then again in our personal lives, where our relationships are really important. Learning how to interact in more skillful ways with our friends and our loved ones. So let's go ahead and practice exactly what I'm talking about. When I talked about earlier about checking in with what's going on within us, how do we even do that? Well, we'll do a mindful practice right here, right now. This will be a mindful check-in. You'll hear my voice guiding you throughout. So as we get started, I invite you to just take a comfortable position in your chair. If it's possible, just placing your feet flatly on the floor. That can help you feel very grounded. And just resting your hands comfortably on your lap. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. That can help minimize the external distractions. Or not. You can keep your eyes open if that feels more comfortable. But again, just taking a soft, unfocused gaze. The goal here is to bring our attention inward. So just taking a moment to take a few deep breaths. And as you do so, just kind of drop into your body for a moment. Notice the position of your body sitting in the chair. You might notice the feeling of your feet on the floor, or the feeling of the areas of your body that make contact with the chair, beneath you and behind you. And see if you can invite yourself into this moment. Just kind of letting go of the cares of the day, the agenda, the to-do list. And invite yourself to drop into this moment. Again, just noticing what it feels like to sit in the chair. You might kind of scan the body from head to toe and just notice how you're feeling in this moment. Are there any areas in your body that are feeling tension, tightness? You're welcome to invite the body to relax. Drop the shoulders, perhaps. Noticing what the body has to tell you. Are there areas of discomfort or pain? What's the energy level in the moment? Is it high? Is it low? Somewhere in between? And again, you're just checking in. You don't have to change anything, judge anything. Just noticing for yourself what's going on in your body. And now shifting the awareness to the thoughts. Just noticing the state of mind in this moment. Is the mind busy, scattered, unfocused? Or is it a little bit more settled and focused? Are the thoughts coming quickly? Or are the thoughts coming more slowly? What are the thoughts that are arising? You can notice them without attaching to them. So again, you don't have to change anything. It's just about noticing what's going on with the mind right now. See if you can meet that with kindness. That's just what's there in the moment. And now shifting the attention to the emotional state and noticing what's there. Are the emotions running high? Or are they running kind of low? Are they settled? Are there strong emotions present in the moment? Or are there more subtle emotions? Maybe something like curiosity, or impatience, boredom. Again, you don't have to judge whatever's arising. You can just meet it with that sense of kind regard. It's just what's here right now. This idea of checking in with yourself. What's going on in the mind? What's going on in the emotional field? What's going on in the physical body? And then just taking a moment to bring your awareness to your breath. Just noticing for yourself where you most feel your own breath, whether that be in the chest or the abdomen, the back of the throat, the tip of the nostrils, wherever that is for you, just bringing your attention right there. And just taking the next few moments, really paying attention to what it feels like as your body breathes. What does the in-breath feel like? What does the out-breath feel like? Perhaps even bringing to mind the quality of gratitude as you just mindfully bring awareness to your breath for the next few moments. This ends session 1.